Was Trevor Milton really a fraud? The untold truth. Fraud. A word that carries the weight of judgment, of condemnation, of finality. And when the world decides you're a fraud, the facts don't seem to matter anymore. The verdict is passed before the trial even begins. This is the story of Trevor Milton. The man branded as the mastermind of a billion-dollar scam. The man the media painted as the poster boy for deception. The man who was sentenced, ridiculed, and left to take the fall, while the real players walked away. But what if we got it wrong? What if Trevor Milton wasn't the villain of this story, but the victim? The moment Hindenburg Research dropped their now infamous short report, the world had already made up its mind. A single document, filled with accusations but light on actual evidence, was all it took. Within days, Nikola's stock plummeted. The investors who once called him a visionary, gone. The board members who profited from Nikola's rise, silent. The media, ruthless. But here's what they don't tell you. Hindenburg wasn't some watchdog looking out for investors. They were short sellers, gambling on Nikola's collapse to make millions. They weren't in it for the truth. They were in it for profit. And yet, their word became gospel. But let's ask a simple question. If Trevor Milton was the fraudster, where were the others? Where were the executives? The board members, the auditors, the lawyers, the industry veterans who once stood beside him? Are we supposed to believe that one man, just one, was able to deceive the biggest investors in the world? General Motors, Bosch, Iveco? That all of them were fooled while a small-time short seller uncovered the so-called truth? Or was this something else? Let's talk about fraud. Not just the kind they accuse Trevor of, but the kind that's never punished. The kind that plays out in boardrooms and financial markets every single day. The kind where a company goes public, insiders cash out, and the public is left holding the bag. Sound familiar? Nikola went public through a SPAC, a vehicle designed to fast-track companies onto the stock market. It wasn't just Nikola. Dozens of companies used the same method, some of them with real fraud, real deception. And yet, only one name became synonymous with scandal. Why? Was Nikola's crime that it didn't deliver on a vision fast enough? Was Trevor's crime that he spoke too boldly, too passionately, too optimistically? That he sold an idea that was ahead of its time? Think about it. Every visionary in history has had to sell a dream. Every major innovation started as something that people doubted. Steve Jobs promised a computer in every home. Elon Musk promised self-driving cars. Jeff Bezos promised a store that would never close. They all had their skeptics. They all had their missteps, but they were given time to figure it out. Trevor Milton? He was never given that chance. The moment the short report dropped, the narrative was set. The moment Nikola's stock dipped, the wolves circled. No room for explanations, no room for adjustments. It was over before he could even fight back. Follow the money. That's how you find the truth. Trevor Milton lost everything. His company, his reputation, his freedom. But let's ask a different question. Who won? Steve Gursky, the former General Motors executive, took over as chairman of Nikola's board. Investors cashed in when the stock was high, walked away when it collapsed. Hindenburg made millions off the panic they created. And the hydrogen industry? The one that Nikola was pushing to the forefront? Conveniently stalled. So let's ask again. Was this really about fraud? Or was this about taking down a man who threatened too many industries, who spoke too loudly, who refused to play by the rules? This isn't just about Trevor Milton. This is about a system that decides who wins and who loses. A system where short sellers can manufacture panic and walk away richer. A system where corporations protect themselves while individuals take the fall. A system where disrupting the status quo isn't rewarded, it's punished. You don't have to like Trevor Milton. You don't have to believe in his vision. But you owe it to yourself to question the narrative you've been fed. Because the truth is rarely what they tell you. So what really happened to Trevor Milton? Was he a fraud? Or was he the only one with the courage to stand tall while others ran for cover? Maybe it's time we start asking the right questions, not just about Trevor, but about the system that tried to silence him.